The North American Versatile Hunting Dog Association's utility test is designed to evaluate a hunting dog's usefulness to the on-foot hunter, both before and after the shot, in the field and marsh, and on different species of upland game. The utility test is the next level after the natural ability and utility preparatory tests. There is no age requirement for the UT test, and dogs may participate even if they have never completed an NA or UPT test. A team of 3 judges will evaluate each dog. Typically, one of the judges will interact with and give specific instructions to each individual handler throughout the day. The utility test is challenging and demanding. In keeping with the NAVHDA aim of fostering, improving, promoting, and protecting the versatile hunting dog in North America. Dogs are judged throughout the test on use of nose, desire to work, stamina, cooperation, and obedience. A utility-prized dog makes an excellent upland and waterfowl hunting companion. If a dog scores a prize 1 in the utility test, it is invited to participate the following year in the Invitational, which is NAVHDA's premier hunt test for finished dogs. The Water Group Search for Duck. The duck search phase is a test of the dog's ability to search for wounded waterfowl and, if found, perform a successful retrieve. The dog is sent to an environment where the handler often cannot physically follow or even see the actual situation, thus requiring the dog to rely on its own initiative and intelligence. For the test, a lake or marsh with sufficient vegetation to allow the duck to hide, yet open enough to allow free movement, is selected. Portions of the area must be of swimming depth for a dog. With dog and handler both out of sight, a pen-raised mallard is rendered flightless by pulling the primary feathers of one wing. The judges then instruct a volunteer to place the duck a distance away from the shore. When the duck is well hidden, the handler and dog are called up. A judge indicates to the handler the direction in which the dog is to be sent. The dog is placed on the shore's edge, off lead. The dog should remain quietly at the handler's side. The handler then fires one blank shot over the water and sends the dog with a command of their choice, such as search or fetch. From then on, the handler must not interfere with the dog's search. Hand, whistle, or voice commands may be used only when the dog is completely off course and, if used, will affect the dog's score. The capable dog systematically searches for, and if found, follows the scent path left as the duck moves through the aquatic cover and over stretches of open water. The test is concluded when the dog has demonstrated that, under normal hunting conditions, the game would have been brought to bag. No retrieve is required, but if the dog does catch the live duck, it must be retrieved to hand. If the duck is retrieved in too short a time to sufficiently judge the dog's independent search, the handler will be asked to send the dog again without a shot being fired or another duck released. Walking at heel. During the walking at heel phase of the test, a versatile hunting dog should be able to walk with its handler at heel, on or off lead. For this test, the dog heels to a 3-sided blind placed at the shoreline of a lake or pond on a course of approximately 50 yards. Natural obstacles can be used to designate the course. Judgment begins when the handler gives the first command, whether verbal or physical, and ends when the dog reaches the blind. The handler must carry an unloaded break-open shotgun provided by the chapter. Remaining by blind. The remaining by blind phase is a test of obedience, control, and calmness in the presence of gunfire when the handler is not within the dog's view. When heeling is completed, the handler positions the dog either inside or outside the blind. The handler then walks away from the dog to a hidden spot designated by the judges and fires 2 blank shotgun rounds at an interval of approximately 10 seconds. The dog must remain quietly at the blind until the handler returns. Steadiness by blind. The steadiness by blind phase is a test of the dog's steadiness in the presence of game while in the exciting atmosphere of repeated gunfire. To begin this phase of the test, the handler positions the dog outside of the blind on either side. 2 assistants are required. One distraction gunner stationed out of sight to either the right or left, and the other a thrower or launcher, hidden far enough away to be able to send a dead duck high in the air to land beyond the decoys in open water, approximately 50 yards from the blind. At a signal from a designated judge, the distraction gunner fires 1 shot. The handler then shoulders the gun and fires one shot. On signal, the distraction gunner fires a second shot. Next, the judge signals the thrower to launch the dead duck. When the duck is in the air, the handler, without prompting, shoulders the gun and fires a second shot to simulate shooting the bird. There should be an interval between the fall of the bird and the handler's command to fetch. The dog should remain in position at the blind until released to retrieve the duck. Retrieve of duck. During the retrieve of duck phase of the test, a dog that leaps into the water will not be scored any higher than one with a deliberate entry that is also bold and unhesitating. The dog should swim around or through the decoys without paying undue attention to them. The dog must pick up the duck without hesitation and return it to the handler without delay, using either a land or water route. After leaving the water, the dog should keep its hold on the duck and sit or stand quietly close to the handler until commanded to release to hand. Judgment of physical attributes. During the judgment of physical attributes phase of the test, the judges normally will examine the dog for physical attributes immediately after the retrieve. Attributes evaluated include the dog's eyes, teeth, coat, and general temperament. A dog's physical attributes are evaluated in the context of how they will help or hinder the dog in the hunting environment. While physical attributes may affect performance, they are not considered in awarding prizes and are performed as a courtesy service to assist owners and breeders. The field group search. During the field group search phase of the test, each dog is hunted for a minimum of 30 minutes. During the search, the handler must carry an unloaded break-open shotgun. Typically 4 to 6 game birds, quail, chukar, and/or pheasants are planted in the area being hunted. If quail are used, 1 or more pheasants or chukars also must be used for each dog. 2 experienced gunners who are NAVHDA International members and at least 18 years old are required to accompany the search. The gunners carry their guns in the open position until just before the shot. They should walk behind the handler, 1 to either side. The judging team, including possible apprentices, will accompany the handler as well, which means there can be upwards of 8 people in the field at once. An accomplished dog readily adapts to the terrain over which it is being hunted and does not hesitate to search rough cover. Throughout, the dog should display eagerness and stamina. Apparent use of the eyes rather than the nose to search for game is a serious fault. However, using the eyes to maintain contact with the handler is natural. A dog's successful range is measured in terms of covering the maximum amount of terrain without loss of control or sacrificing the all-important hunter-dog cooperation. Pointing. The judgment for the pointing phase of the test begins when the dog establishes a point. The pointing stance must be intense, convincing, and unmistakable, and in the end, the point must be productive. Judgment of pointing ends when the dog is aware of the presence of the handler or another person in the field, for example, a gunner or judge, and at this time the judgment of steadiness begins. When the dog is pointing, the handler prepares to flush the bird and positions the gunners on either side of the dog. Shots at birds that flush and fly behind the dog should not be attempted. If the bird cannot be shot, a gunner should fire in the air to simulate shooting the bird. Steadiness on game. The steadiness on game phase of the test gives the handler or hunter the opportunity to concentrate on safe and skillful handling of the gun. On flushed birds, the handler must swing the gun as if shooting the bird. Quiet, confident, and sportsmanlike teamwork between handler and dog should be displayed during bird contacts. Of primary importance is the dog's behavior in the context of the hunting situation. If the bird is missed by the gunner, the dog should remain steady until commanded to continue the search. A dog that turns to mark or takes a step when the gun is fired should not be penalized, particularly when the dog's view of the falling game is obstructed. Retrieve of shot bird. During the retrieve of a shot bird, the versatile hunting dog should accomplish the retrieve eagerly. On command, the dog should go quickly to the fallen bird, pick it up, return directly to the handler, and then wait until told to release the bird to hand. Retrieve of dragged game. The retrieve of dragged game phase is a test of the dog's reliability to retrieve game under hunting conditions without the direct influence of the handler. The drag track should be between 100 and 200 yards, depending on the terrain, with one bend near the center of the course. The majority of the drag should ideally be over fairly open cover so the dog's attitude and actions can be observed. The balance of the track should be out of sight of the handler. This is important since some dogs, when they feel they are out of sight, abandon the search or mishandle or bury the game. The game, usually a duck or pheasant, should be cold. The start of the drag should be marked with some feathers, and the end should be out of sight of the handler. After the game is dropped, the judge who makes the drag hides 15 to 20 yards away on the downwind side and waits to observe the dog's actions when it arrives at the game. This judge then signals to start the run. The handler brings the dog up to the start on lead and commands it to retrieve. At this point, the dog is on its own and no further command is permitted. The manner in which the dog works the drag matters little and can vary widely with the weather, experience, and temperament. A dog performs well when it finds the game quickly, picks it up, and returns eagerly to the handler. The dog then should sit or stand close by and present the bird until commanded to release. The dog must demonstrate use of its nose to consistently find game on water and in the field under varied conditions. The desire to work also must be evident. The dog that perseveres when the going gets rough in thick cover or cold water demonstrates this fundamental quality. Stamina is the physical counterpart of the dog's desire to work and is crucial to the dog's performance in the test. Cooperation is key. At all times, the dog should demonstrate a willingness to handle and to hunt with the purpose of producing game for the table. Cooperation is a silent, invisible bond between handler and dog. Obedience is a key element to every test, and a versatile utility dog must be controllable at all times. The actual success of the hunt can hinge upon a dog that obeys its handler's commands by hand, voice, or whistle signals. A calm, confident handler and an eager, obedient dog working as a team are a joy to watch. Scoring starts when all dogs participating in that day's test have completed both the water and field portions. The judging team calculates the scores. Each phase of the utility test is scored separately, and the results are added together to determine the dog's total numerical score, as well as a prize of 1, 2, 3, or no prize. For more information on scoring, consult the AIMS Programs and Test Rules book, available on NAVHDA's website. NAVHDA currently has over 100 chapters located throughout the United States and Canada. Each chapter holds regular training days and provides access to knowledgeable trainers and mentors. With these resources, NAVHDA offers the North American upland and waterfowl hunter the tools needed to develop a well-rounded, versatile hunting dog.